Here we go! Welcome to the P2 Power Play Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Wilson, alongside
Thiago Cucci.
And we back-to-back shows.
Back to back. It's crazy. It's a busy week. It's an amazing week. So, guys, I'm with the glasses that you guys already know.
You know?
Blue Machine glasses, please. Help us out.
Get them for the tournament. Wear them inside. That's what they're used for.
Few days, yeah? 2 days away? 3?
3, 4. Coming close.
Whenever you guys watch this, we might can say we were the champ or
Do
not.
the autointroduction. Let's knock that out first.
Okay. So, si tú quieres mirar este show en español, mi español es difícil. Tú puedes cambiar en ajustes e poner autotradução em espanhol. Se você quiser assistir em português, você troca no ajuste e coloca em português. And if you want to watch in English, you don't need to do anything.
French again, because we had French yesterday.
No, I don't know.
No, me either.
You know the French.
I don't know. So today, another special show. We got microphones. We got double mics again. And we got 2 guys here, father and son. We got Vic and Khi Caban. Welcome to the show. And actually, they're international guests. They're living in Switzerland right now, so they're not local.
Opa!
So,
this is so fancy, my friend.
And let me introduce them a little bit. Vic is the director of sport, what we would call an athletic director at the International School of Basel, and Khi plays for the FC Basel U15, now U16 academy team, correct?
Yeah, that was
big time.
Can he guest play for us?
Oh, guest play, yeah.
That would be good.
He was maybe going to play in the futsal, but it just doesn't work out for the dates. So maybe next year, though.
Maybe next year. We'll never not rule it out.
There you go. Yeah. So
might be some FIFA rules we got to check. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll get their own way. So if you guys can maybe just introduce yourself, what you've been up to, what you're doing, and let's go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Again, Vic Caban was born Victor. Chop it in half is Vic. I think we all know coaches like 1-syllable names. Yeah. Get the directions out quicker. And as you mentioned, I'm the director of sport at the International School of Basel in Switzerland. We just finished our first school year there. Previous to that, my wife and I both are international educators, and so we've been around the world, several different places.
Oh, nice.
And so before Switzerland, we were in Shanghai for 5 years. Before that, we were in Costa Rica for 2.
Nice.
Beijing for 3.
Wow.
Cairo, Egypt for 2.
You've been everywhere, literally.
Goodness. Yeah. And then, we started off here.
Just working with sports?
Teaching, education first.
Nice.
I've always been a coach. I started off here at Cypress Creek High School. I'm actually a graduate of Cypress Creek High School. Got my first teaching job there. Became an administrator there for a while. And you went to Cypress Creek? Yeah, the Bears, baby. Yeah, boy. The Bears. Yeah. So, that's just basically the professional story. Along the way, I've always been coaching. I played baseball at the University of North Florida.
Nice.
And so that's how I started off at Cypress Creek.
Where are you born? Because you travel the whole world.
That's a longer story, yeah. So my dad was in the military. My dad was a U.S. Army retired.
Nice.
So thanks to all the servicemen and women out there. Appreciate it. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Sounds lavish, but I can't tell you anything about it.
Your passport is all stamped with
I'm on passport 3, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Spent time in Texas, in Miami, in Alaska, and Virginia growing up. So we moved every 3 to 4 years. Just the normal thing when you're a military kid.
My brother-in-law is also military. They used to live in Honolulu. There is a base right there. So they used to live there.
Yep.
There's 29 pounds. I don't know if you know that. In California.
Okay.
They went to a lot of every 3 years they got to move.
Yeah, every 3 to 4 years. So that was my childhood growing up. My dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Puerto Rican and Mexican, so Latinos, todos los que hablan español.
Vamos.
Estamos juntos, vamos que vamos.
So vamos. But yeah, I guess that's me in a nutshell and my upbringing and kind of where I've been, where we've been. And we always come home in the summertime here to Florida to visit family, friends, work with Kyle, get a little bit in there.
There we go.
So, yes.
Go, Kyle, what you got?
Well, I started in Florida. That's where I was born. And then from there, we've traveled everywhere. Football-wise, I've taken a lot throughout all these moves, and from all the countries, you get different styles of play, different cultural, you get a lot.
Where have you played?
Well, I started playing when I was around 3, and that was in Egypt.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's our son.
I forgot.
I don't remember much from Egypt. I was a really young age. But I remember the earliest times playing was in Beijing. We had a match at the school, and I used to play for the club there. And my dad put together a video, and it's called the Highlights. And it's just highlights of me in that one game. But yeah, and so from there, that's where my football career and passion started. And it's developed through all these adventures that I've had throughout my lifetime. And I'd say the first big experience for me, football-wise, would be in Costa Rica. There was my first takeaway and
Nice.
big thing football-wise. Physicality. I didn't know much about physicality. And I actually used to think when I was in school and we'd play on the playground, I used to think it was bullying. I thought I was being bullied because of how physical they were being. I'd get shoved, I'd get hit against the fence. And for me, I was thinking, yo, this is like, I'm getting bullied. But later to realize that it's just the style of play.
It's just the game.
It's just the game.
I was going to
See? You see, that was good.
right there. Yeah.
Success. We got a ring.
First one.
No offer here.
Maybe it was the record.
But it's interesting talking about that because we deal with this type of situation all the time here because parents say, oh, you know, it's too aggressive, it's bullying or some circumstance of it. So it's interesting that you're saying that because people need to understand that's the game. Yeah. That's any sport really is going to be like that. So it's
I think you have to trust the coaches at that point, right? To understand. I think as coaches and professionals, you have to trust our professional judgment to what is bullying and what is just a part of the game. And it's just a reality, right? So as parents, at first we were concerned.
Sure.
But then you get to see the style of, you know, when you start to go watch Saprissa or Heredia in Costa Rica, which are the two big teams, or La Liga, you see that the style of play at the men's top division is super physical. And so they're just emulating what they're seeing on the TV or at the stadiums when they're watching. And so, every country has its own thing.
So why you start with soccer?
Well, I don't actually know. It wasn't like I was watching TV one day and I was like, oh, let me try that sport. From what I've been told is that I've just always had a thing for kicking a ball around the house. I'd just dribble
Destroying
and kick.
some things? Or?
He was good. He would go outside at least, right? No,
Let me ask you something. I mean, you were in Egypt, all over the world. Which country you like the most? Like, which one you recommend us to visit?
Oh,
okay, that I'm glad you clarified because the first question was a little wide open. So to visit, if you're going to be a tourist and spend money to plan a vacation,
I'm going to ask you to visit because I love USA. I love this country here. I would never move, probably. But I mean, to visit, with the family.
With the family,
you got one trip.
Wow,
I mean,
you put me
go
on the
big
spot.
or go home.
Okay,
He's remember about the parties. Okay, so it can be general to leave or.
I don't remember a lot of the parties. That's all fuzzy. That part of the trip. I don't know. It's tough. It depends. Like, there's several factors. I'm gonna give you a couple answers.
Yeah.
So, on this side of the world, probably the most memorable trip we've taken as a family was to Guatemala.
Okay.
Different, like.
It was just amazing. We flew from Costa Rica.
Nice.
Just the natural beauty that exists in Guatemala. It's very affordable in Guatemala. But yeah, the lakes and the volcanoes and these hidden valleys with turquoise water. It's like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. So that was a great trip here. And again, thinking of a family, I think economical too, right? You got to feed 3, 4, 5 mouths. You got hotels to pay for. So Guatemala is a beautiful place to be. Probably under the radar. People probably a little bit scared of Central America, but there's nothing to be afraid of, folks. You just kind of keep your nose clean and you don't look for trouble. Trouble doesn't find you. It's pretty simple. I mean, I've been all over the world, right? In Europe, this is going to probably be a shocker. Probably one of the best family trips we ever took in Europe was to Amsterdam. Super duper family city. I know what you're thinking.
The red light. No, I'm kidding. That's
a part of it. That's part of the experience, right? We were lucky enough that my mother came to visit at the same time, and so she watched the kids, and so my wife and I got to go see that side of Amsterdam. But during the day, beautiful museums, everybody rides bikes, beautiful parks, even the art galleries are super friendly for kids. There's like kid tours where they can do things that are fun and interactive. So those are great. My favorite city, London, probably in Europe though, because there's so much to do. Whatever you want, you can find.
Which one you didn't like? That way we save our time.
Good question.
Or you? You can answer that.
Yeah.
Well, I know the add-on to his what I did like. When we went to Slovenia, we did one trip one time through a lot of Europe. Slovenia is beautiful.
Nice.
If you like adventure and being outside, outdoors is definitely the place to be. Nice. The lakes are beautiful. We did some
paragliding. Running off the side of a mountain.
Nice. And which one you didn't like it?
Or just like least memorable. How about that? Least memorable. Yeah.
You're gonna make me dig in the memory then. Least memorable. No, they've all had something. I would say
they all have their own thing.
Yeah, everybody has. They all have a thing. I was probably least, and maybe because I had high expectations with Paris. And I guess maybe because you see it so much in the movies, things kind of get so cliche sometimes that when you get there, you're like, okay, I've seen it. Now, the Eiffel Tower, super impressive. Palace of Versailles, super impressive. But, like, I'm not about the cafe lifestyle. I'm not about these other things.
So fancy.
Yeah, I'm very simple.
It's very small, everything there.
Yeah. It's nice. It's very nice. But I think it was, I guess, because you see so much of it that when you're there, you're like, I knew that was there. I knew what that looked like, kind of thing. So I like off the beaten path kind of stuff.
Before you start with your technical question about soccer, there's one more interest question that I would like to know. Do you still find money from different countries in your pocket sometimes? So have you ever got like a dollar, not a dollar, but a different...
Yeah, I remember one time in Costa Rica, some man at our school, he gave me some of his, like, a piece of his money, and I don't even know what it was. And I was just like, all right, cool. And I remember finding it like 2 or 3 years later. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't even know.
There's a bill right now on top of the dryer at my mom's house from a country I don't recognize. And I don't know if it came out of my pants or hers, or I don't know where it came from, but it's sitting there. So, yes, it happens.
Sometimes I find a coin that like 10 years ago is
coins.
Really good.
Crazy. You just
now
never know what you're
start
going
with
to
the technical questions.
So, I mean, I want to start.
That's it? We're done. We're going to go technical right away? No, you need a break. That's what it is. You need a break. Okay.
Break
So,
time.
I do want to talk about just your role as an athletic director. You've been doing it for a while, but how did you actually get into it? Because you said you were a teacher first. Yep. So is that what you wanted to do, or this kind of fell upon you? And how did you, start traveling the world? And
multiple stories there. Yeah. So most athletic directors do start off as physical education teachers and coaches. Kind of the natural path, right? So you're with your sport of passion, you're coaching it, and when you're managing the non-strategic part of your team well, people recognize those kind of things, right? And so, I mean, I think we've all been coaching in the sport long enough where you can recognize some leadership qualities in somebody, and somebody has to take you under their wing and kind of mold you a little bit as you move along, right? And so I was fortunate enough to have some good mentors along the way. And then at Cypress Creek, after my third year, I think, they asked me to become the dean of students, which is a big role for somebody who was, I think I was 24 years old when I took on that role, right? You got a high school of 3,800 kids, and your main responsibility is discipline, which is not something that people like to take on because you got to talk to parents, right? And you've got to do these things. You have hard conversations. And I'm less than a decade out of high school myself, and I'm having these hard conversations. So people recognize, I guess, some of those traits and qualities. When we moved overseas, you want the story first?
Yeah, hit it.
So being a military kid, we talked about this already. Every 3 to 4 years I was moving. We had been here at Cypress Creek and here in Orlando 7 years, I think, at that point, which was the longest I'd ever been anywhere, right?
Okay.
And I looked at my wife one day, and I was like, we got to move. And she was like,
back it up, yeah.
She's like, it was like a Saturday afternoon, random. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you want to change houses? I'm like, no, we need to, like, move. She's like, okay. Because she's a Florida girl. She was born and raised in South Florida. And we talked about going out to the West Coast. Like, let's just go to Washington. We'd visited before. We liked it. It's outdoors. It's, fresh air, clean space. We're like, we're just going to move blind. We'll figure out jobs when we get there. And I was looking up online. I tend to go down some rabbit holes occasionally online, I think like most of us do. And, being a military kid, I knew there were Department of Defense schools, right? And so I'm like, I wonder how that works. So I looked it up, and that led me to another thing, and I found out that there's international schools that are not affiliated with any government in all the different countries of the world. I spit something out. I saw like some random listing for teachers in like Borneo or something. It was super random off the wall. Yeah. I was like, you want to go teach in Borneo? And she was in the kitchen. I remember it clearly. She goes, well, hell, if we're going to move 6 to 8 hour flight away, it might as well be to another country and give people a reason to come visit.
Yeah, there you go.
And I turned and looked, and I was like, what, really? Yeah. So we looked. I guess what people don't know is there's recruiting fairs that happen, at least in the States. There's 3 major recruiting fairs that happen. You go to one, you got to pay to go to it. Like, there's a lot of upfront costs, right? But you go, if you're a certified teacher and you have experience, and all these international schools have all their vacancies listed and posted. And so they're looking for matches, basically. So if you're a PE teacher and they're looking for a PE teacher, you have a conversation. It's like speed dating interview. It all happens really fast, and then they just offer you a contract. We were lucky enough to have a couple contracts offered to us that first go around. We chose Egypt, and basically the rest is history. Like, once you're in the circle, you know, you still go to a couple fairs early in your career, then your network grows. And then it's just like basically picking up the phone or sending an email, be like, hey, I see you guys have this available. We're a teaching couple. Here's what we got. If you're interested, let us know. And yeah, you become basically like free agents essentially.
Nice.
Yeah. So got us to Egypt. And from there, I was the head of PE and the athletic director. It was a brand new school, so we got to build it from the ground up. Was a school that when we got there had like 100 kids maybe.
Very small. Yeah.
Very small. Most international schools are small. This one had 100 kids. Within 5 years, they had like 1,500 kids, which is a big international school. 1,500 kids is a very, very big international school. And so, yeah, from there, you know, just different experiences. I guess my first big school, big full-time, like elementary through high school athletic director role was in Costa Rica. And so that was a great experience for me. And then once you show you can do the job and you can do the work, and you do it with passion and you do it with energy, people come knocking at that point. So we've been lucky. We've been lucky.
Not lucky. You work a lot. So
we do work a lot.
Lucky. I keep saying, like, people talk about lucky for me. Oh, lucky. Lucky is winning on the lotto, not playing.
Right.
This is lucky. But you were there working.
Yeah.
So.
True. Touche. Yes. Yeah, appreciate
not
that.
Lucky. I don't defend lucky. I know lucky. I mean,
we've had people call us lucky guys, and we're like, you don't even know what we do every single day to be lucky.
Right. Right. No, there's a great quote from my English teacher. I was in 11th grade. I'll never forget it. Luck is, I'm sure you've seen it. Luck is simply preparation meeting opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Done. It's your quote.
So I do want to continue on your side, at least for now.
Yep.
And you know, I was training Kai the other day, and we were talking about parents. So obviously, I'm sure you deal with parents all the time.
All the time.
And first, I guess, do you have any crazy parent stories you can share with everybody and be like, hey, this is one of the craziest ones I had to deal with, and don't have to give a name, but situational maybe?
Ooh, you know what? I don't know that I've had, like, I think I deal with it differently. When I recognize that parent has come into my office and they're
ready to go.
They
you grab a phone.
No, I basically just nip it in the butt right away. I was like, look, hold on. Before we start talking, I need you to calm down a little bit. I'm happy to sit here and listen to you.
Yeah.
I want to hear what's going on so that I can find a way to help you. And so I try to defuse the situation real quick, because if I get in a shouting match with a parent, I'm going to lose,
of course.
no matter what. Yeah. Even if I win my point, they're going to walk away and that I was a jerk and that I talked to them in this manner.
More pissed.
And then I get more parents who are skeptical of me, and when they're skeptical, they don't buy into the program. And so we all lose at that point, right? So I try to, right away, I try to diffuse it.
Fun.
So I don't know if I have a good, like this is an example.
That is good.
That's good. Yeah. Good feedback.
I guess. I mean, you know what? I'll share this part. I don't know if this is quite where you're going with this, but I was brought into Costa Rica. The director had a clear plan about what he wanted for the program, and I was brought in to do that. And it's not typically the way you would go about. Usually you don't show up and start making change, right? It's usually you go in, you kind of assess the situation, kind of feel it out, and then make small changes. No, what he wanted to change like overnight.
Bang.
And so I had his support. He's the top dog. I had the support of the board. And so they were like, this is what you're going to do. And I'm like, okay. And so I did it. And so I had a lot of angry parents. And I remember early on, a mom came in and she was like, I'm going to have you fired.
That's great news.
Yeah. You're doing all this wrong, and we're tired of it. And we're like in like week 3 of the school year. She's like, and we're going to have you fired. And I looked at her dead in the face and I was like, I'll walk up there with you right now. Because if you have that kind of power and they do fire me, I'll thank you.
Yeah, time for me to go.
Because I'll have a job somewhere else. in a different country where I'm really wanted, if that's the case. And I stood up and I said, let's go. And when she saw that I wasn't afraid of that, she actually became one of my biggest supporters before the end of the semester.
So she didn't walk out with you?
No. She sat there. I called her bluff, I guess. But, super supporter after that. I think we understood each other. Again, tell me what the issue is. Let me give you my side. Let's understand each other, right? And let's do what's best for the kids that are involved, not best for what the parents think is best for the kids. And so, yeah.
Are you his coach?
No.
So have you ever did something with his coach as well? Like, have you ever tried to talk with his coach?
Yeah, but I
Not in the bad.
No, I always presume positive. Coaches make decisions for a reason, and I respect that. Sometimes I just need to understand a little bit more.
You've
right?
been in it, so
yeah. I sit in that seat. I don't ever want anybody to feel what I have felt.
Yeah.
I know, right? And so I come in with wanting to understand, not wanting to change your decision.
Playtime. Have you ever asked playtime for him?
No, for him, no.
Say, oh, he plays so well. He should play a little bit more. No, never.
I'm going to be humble, and that's never been an issue.
Crazy.
That's never been an issue.
If it was an issue, and this is hypothetical, how would you deal with it? If he wasn't playing a lot, how would you approach that? Looking at it from the other side.
Yeah, go ahead. You got.
Well, then for him, I feel like that's just a me thing. Like it's clearly something I'm lacking if the coach is not putting me in for the time or seeing that I fit into the team. But
That's a great one right there. Yeah, I was hoping that was going to come out. Yeah.
That was not rehearsed, by the way. That was a dynamo drop in.
Boom.
Good job.
Well done.
But why do you say that?
Well, because clearly when you come into a team or you're in an existing team, the coach there has an idea of how he's going to want his team to play and how he wants to fundamentally build the team. And so if he sees in the moment that I am not ready to play a full 90 minutes or 50, or even a half, if he doesn't see that, there's clearly something wrong on my part too. And maybe I just don't fit into the team, where that might be a thing I need to change a little bit. Maybe I'm like, okay, maybe I need to do this, and then that'll get me some more play time. So it's just different things for different coaches. But yeah.
So when you first got to your club at FC Basel, how were you playing right away? A lot, little, and then how did you adjust?
Well, we started off with the trials, and that was a 3-day trial. And on Saturday, my third day of the trial was a game. And so they're like, well, we have a game. We'll put you in for a half and see how you do.
Actually,
So it was official match?
What they told us,
friendly.
it was a friendly.
Okay.
What they told us was, at the end of the 3 days, we have a match. We'll see if we can get you 10 or 15 minutes. Cool. And then...
Yeah, so they put me in for a half. I came in. Within 5 minutes, I came in. I scored. 2 minutes later, 2 minutes later, I scored another one. So yeah, and then from there, they ended up. I mean, they didn't even tell us. Like, they just told me when the date was to come in to train the next day. I was just like, okay. They're like, come 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm there. I'm coming. And then after a couple weeks, they gave an email saying, we'd like to have you on the team. So.
Well, actually, they invited my wife and I, and they're like, we'd like to talk to you guys.
Nice.
But it was like you said.
But you was working there already?
Yeah. So we work in Switzerland already. Like I said, it was a 3-day trial. They gave him the game at day 3. They were like, hey, tomorrow's practice is at 9. Okay.
Was not lucky. He scored a goal.
Scored 2 goals.
Was not lucky.
Scored 2. No. So like they didn't tell us anything. 3 turned into like 5, and 5 turned into 7, and then like on day 7 is when we got a message. Hey, come on, we want to talk to you guys face to face and officially now. And that's when they offered him the official roster spot.
How did that work when they actually brought you in? They said, hey, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So literally it was an email. Might have even been a WhatsApp. Basically, we want to officially talk to you. And again, nobody had said anything. They didn't say you weren't on the team, don't come, or you are on the team. He just kind of kept going, and they said tomorrow's practice is at 6. They said tomorrow's practice is at 9 a.m. So go.
Yeah.
So we get there, and they bring us in a room kind of like this. I mean, it's got a projector and a screen, and we're sitting there with the talent acquisition manager, and then we were sitting there with the academy director as well. And they just kind of talked to us about what they saw, giving us more background, like the foundation principles of FC Basel, what they believe, how they believe players should play. And then at the end, they were like, let's get to this. We'd like to offer you a spot if you'd like to be on, accept it. You know, of course.
And you sign a contract?
No, there's no contracts. Contracts are when you get money involved. So that's still a couple years away, I think, or a year.
That starts this year in U16.
Okay.
Whoever they feel, obviously, they want to keep in their program and keep developing, they'll ask for them to sign with the club.
Are you prepared for this? You feel that you're going to make it?
I'm not worried. There's a plan for everyone. So I believe I have what it takes. That's up to them if they want it or not. So I can only do what I can do.
You see, guys, you guys need to learn with him, huh? He's confident.
I think, you know, when you talked about the trial and you had the game and you said, I came in 3 minutes, scored a goal, right? I'm sure your dad will say the same thing. Performance, at the end of the day, is the most important. It doesn't matter how well you train. It doesn't matter how well you do it. You have to perform if you want to get somewhere, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You've got to show something. Yeah. There's got to be something that is of value to the team and the coach. It's a give and take, right? I need this, you need that, and we can together we can make that happen and then elevate it, right? So that was something that they talked to us about initially. So before the trial, we came in and we had like an interview basically, and they asked him some questions about, you know, his goals and his ideas and this and that. And they were looking for specific answers. And then like during the 3 days, in addition to the skill, I mean, if somebody has called or somebody has seen you and invited you to the trial, you've got skill.
Right, you got something.
Now they're looking for the other things that people don't necessarily pay attention to. What kind of kid are you? How do you interact with the other kids? Do you fit in personally and socially in addition to, you know, performance-wise? And so they're looking at all of these things. And FC Basel, I'm assuming it works the same way than other clubs. Like, they have feeder clubs. And they were like, look, most of our kids, when we get to this point, we send to our feeder club. Right? But we're going to give them the 3 days, and we'll see. So they already paint the picture that, like, you're probably going to get a no.
Right, low expectation.
Yeah, so just be prepared. Obviously, for us, it worked out differently, so, you know, we're thankful for that and grateful. But
if you get a no, what is your plan to get a yes?
Work harder, make them regret saying no at that time, and invite me back up and see.
Yeah.
You know.
What team do you want to play? What team is your dream?
I don't so much have a dream team, but we support Chelsea. So if we get to Chelsea,
it's another country that you're
gonna. So if I end up at Chelsea, if I end up in the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga,
you're gonna see you there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So one day there. Well, we got a question from Meta Media, and it says, as a player, how do you deal with the changes, changing culture, country, friends, etc.?
Well, in the beginning, when I was younger, it's a lot harder because you're still growing up. You don't know what's right and wrong and that stuff. But when you're older, like now, I really appreciate having all those moves. Culturally, I'm very understanding of everyone. Like, I feel like kids that at my age may not have so much experience, so they might not be as open-minded. Yeah. And then countries, I don't know. It's just different each country, so you get to experience something new. Yeah. Each new move gives you a new opportunity to learn something.
You have friends all over, yeah?
Yeah, I have friends from all over. Try to keep in touch with them here and there. But yeah, I mean,
your birthday, you FaceTime everybody together. And
yeah. From the it still happens sometimes.
Nice.
Now going back to FC Basel, how does it work? Is the academy free? And they have, I guess, talk about that first, and they'll go to the next point. So is it free, and how does it work?
No, it's not free.
Okay.
FC Basel is a small club, small market club. It's not expensive. I mean, I don't know how much it costs here. I have no freaking clue, like what about anything here in the stateside as far as club sports go. But it's manageable. I think we pay $1,700. I think something like that. They're completely kitted out. This is part of the training kit. You know, and they have their game day uniforms, the travel to and from all the places. They get fed lunch twice a week because they have a double session on Tuesday and Thursday. Nice. He's celiac, so he's gluten intolerant. He is celiac, which means he cannot have gluten. I want to make sure my wife doesn't get mad at me on that. And so they cater to that as well. So that's an additional cost, you know. And again, we don't pay it, but we pay it within the fee structure that exists. And that fee exists all the way up to the U18. And then that's where basically the club takes on all the costs at that point.
They sleep over there on the club? Or?
No. He comes home every day. He goes to school with me and my wife at the International School of Basel. they're very accommodating. You can ask him about his schedule and how they do that. I'm sure he's better to speak about it than I am.
Sure.
But yeah, basically, he's just like any other kid at this point. He's at home. He eats at home. We have breakfast together. We have dinner together. Usually in the morning when we go our separate ways, we don't see him again until probably 8 p.m. at night.
Okay.
Because he'll leave right after school for training. My wife and I are still working, and then I'll go pick him up around 8:30. So.
And how many days a week you train? And I guess really talk about your schedule, like your dad said.
Well, on Mondays, I have one session. The sessions are an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And then Tuesdays, I have a session in the morning. We train. Usually it's a position-specific training, so it's not with the team in the morning. So it might be finishing drills or like midfield or defensive. And then in the afternoon, team training. Wednesday, I have a day off. Thursday, double training. Friday, team training. And Saturday, a game. And the school does really well with supporting me with my during school training sessions in the mornings. In the beginning of the year, we obviously had to talk to the
principal and the assistant principal in charge of academics.
Okay.
It's not virtual school.
No. It's brick and mortar school. Yeah. And so they're real supportive about his situation. What they did was basically, instead of having to take PE because he's training,
PE, well-being,
because he's learning from the team physios and the nutritionists and everybody at FCB. They're like, okay, we're going to give you the credit for these classes, and then when you come in, you'll have some free periods to help you catch up on the classes that you do miss when you're away training. So super helpful for us. I mean, those are things we looked at. My wife and I, okay, wait a minute. He's just been offered this spot and this opportunity. What if the school can't support us? Yeah. So we did look at some online schools, and we were ready to go that route if we needed to. Our thing's always been to support him, support his dream. We don't push anything on him. If tomorrow he tells us he doesn't want to do it anymore, then I'll be a dad and be like, "Are you sure?" And I'll wait a week and I'll ask, "Are you sure?" Because then if you're sure, cool. It's not my dream. It's your dream.
Yeah.
Right?
And what is your dream?
My big overall dream is to play for the U.S. national team. That's like my big dream.
Opa.
Yeah.
Can be futsal or no?
No. Well, I haven't really thought of that, but I'd prefer to play soccer. I love to play futsal. Like here in the summer, I love it. It's just fun. It's refreshing. It's a different kind of soccer, and so
a lot of touches.
Very much. Yeah. I'm a very technical player. I like playing like that.
So your dream is national team.
Yes.
Bingo.
Anybody out there listening? We're ready.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay tuned.
We will see you there.
Next question is, can you kind of talk about how many players are on the team? What is training like? What is it? High intensity? Is it aggressive? Do they play physical? Kind of talk about what that actually looks like.
In how many hours?
Like in the week, how many hours?
Yeah.
I'll do the math if you want to talk about like what training looks like and feels like.
So during training, it's not so much fundamental training. It's more of a team training. So we do a lot of pass, open, go into space, run, cross, little things to build into our match day game. The intensity is pretty high because obviously each kid on that team is trying to make the starting 11. We're all trying to be the best that we can and make it on the team because we want to play on Saturday. And our team specifically is a big group, like a big sized age, like U15 team, U16 now. We have.
So you're saying they're tall?
Yeah, physical, tall and big
kids.
You guys work out?
Yes, we have a training plan that we have a certain like training person, like a trainer for workouts and stuff. I think we do 3 or 4 a week.
With weights, everything?
Weights, leg day, upper body, core, TRX. And I mean, training-wise, what I appreciate with having bigger kids on my team is that for me physically, I get to battle with them. So even if it's not my size, and I'll come across other kids that are big, whereas if I'm training with kids my size and then I come across big kids that are like on my team, I feel like I'd be not as well prepared as I could be. So training with kids my age that are pretty big and technically well, it helps develop my game, even though it might be a little harder sometimes.
That was good, huh?
It was hesitation. I didn't know if you were actually.
Yeah. That was.
dramatic.
Man, that was really good because I was listening to the.
Well,
really
it's
good.
interesting. Like we were talking to who you met yesterday, Joel.
Yep.
You saw him again,
Yep.
and he mentioned he's like, I signed a professional contract at 15 years and 10 months. I played my first pro game, 15 years, 10 months, and he's like, players that want to make it have to deal with life and understand that they're gonna get their ass kicked. And he's like, physically, he's like, I developed enough, but like it was hard, and you got to be able to deal with life at the highest level.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that you can talk to. We were talking about this earlier, not only before we got here. And I don't even know if we mentioned it, but he spent 2 years at a boarding school in England.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up, but go ahead. Yeah.
Right, and so you can kind of share your experience there too. Cause
No mom and dad, right? No parents.
No, home.
No, man, we were
What age?
we were an 18-hour flight away.
12, 13.
So you're 12 and 13, living on your own,
Living on my own.
another country,
Another country.
not with mom and dad.
Not with mom and dad.
So yeah, talk about that. That'd be good.
So the boarding school was in the school. Yeah, we
Where?
had. It was south of London, Hastings.
So England.
Yes.
Okay.
Buxwood was the name.
One time for Buxwood.
Yeah. It was a great experience. I learned so much from it. I got there, I was trying because it's a pretty expensive school.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to show maybe I can get a scholarship, maybe. We'll see. I had a coach from Shanghai that was there, and he got a job there.
Yeah.
So he brought me over and was like, we want to give you a chance. I know what you have. Let's show them, see.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get something here. All went good. I got there. And then living style was, it's very structured. I don't know what military school is like, but it was very scheduled, everything. You wake up 8:15, one of the house masters, that's like the parent of the house, comes around, knock on doors, opens, wake up,
Get your ass up.
You get dressed, you decide how much time you want. Some kids give themselves 2 minutes to get dressed, some give themselves 40 minutes, they decide when they wake up. But then 8:30 or something like that is breakfast, you get 20, 30 minutes to eat. After that, you go back in your dorm, you get your backpack ready, you get your stuff for school, you go to classes, you do the whole day. You come back to your dorm, you change. For me, I'd go to training for 2-3 hours. After training, you come back, you change, shower, go to dinner. And then one of the most fun part, I would say, is that after dinner, you had some free time. And a lot of us, we had like an indoor facility.
Like a multi-purpose space?
Yeah. It had AstroTurf, like flooring, but with basketball hoops, and it had a lot of stuff. So us footballers, we'd get together, we'd get like a 5-a-side game with multiple players, and we'd all be playing. When you're that young, it's football, you love it, you're down to play, even no matter how tired you are, you'll go and kick around the ball and dribble and mess around. And then you'd repeat that.
How was the fields around the world? Like indoors, outdoor fields?
Before we go there, let me go back to his Buxwood experience. So one of the things that I think it was a blessing in that situation. Being a parent is hard when your kid's 18 hours away, right? And they did a great job taking care of him. But he got the chance there to play up different age groups. So going back to what you were talking about, the physicality and just kind of dealing with it.
And England's hard.
And England's a physical.
they'll
It's
knock the hell
built
out
to
of
be
you.
physical, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yep.
Forget the ball skill.
Yep.
How fast can you get to that guy and knock him over?
Yeah, they'll go 2 feet like this all day.
And so I can remember, he got there. He was 12 turning 13, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And he had set himself a goal already to be on the U15. To make the U15 roster.
Just to get on it.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, this guy is setting his bar high. I was like, all right, cool. Let me know what happens. I remember getting a phone call. It was like 2:30 in the morning in Shanghai.
Yeah.
I'm like, you okay?
Yeah.
Puppy, I made the roster. I made the roster.
My goodness, that was nice.
And I was like,
Just a little
that's
heart
great.
attack
That's great.
first.
And then he's like, oh, wait, you're sleeping. I'm like, yeah, but it's okay. I appreciate the phone call. I'll talk to you later. Okay, love you. Clip.
That's funny.
My wife was like, is he okay? He made the roster. And back to sleep.
That was a good call. That was a good call.
It's an excellent call. But talk about, I guess, playing up a little bit.
Well, yeah, I started there, and in the beginning, the physicality, I was a very emotional player. I still am, but not as much. Like, I've learned how to control it, but back then, if I got frustrated or something, I'd break down and I couldn't breathe. And so playing with big kids in England and stuff, when you get hit, you gotta toughen up.
You might go to the hospital.
Yeah, nobody's gonna save you. And so that took some time to get used to, but as I started to get bigger and I was able to take it and understand, I'm gonna get hit, it's gonna happen. especially if I'm gonna want to play higher age groups. And so yeah, I got called to U15 probably halfway through the year, and then yeah, I mean from there I got to see the level of U15 which I was gonna go into, and that's like a big help when you can go into the next age group and see how you're gonna need to play and at what level that is. It helps so much to develop yourself, because from then I was like, okay, these guys are like pretty big, and I gotta be able to do this. And so when I'm in U14 training and I'm seeing it's not happening so much in the training ground, I can go personally to that gym and indoor facility. I go work on ball drills myself to further myself up. So next year I can deal with it, I can handle it. And then the second year there, I was playing I was playing U13 my first year there.
Yep. And you were the 13 captain and the 14 captain, and played with the U15.
So when I was in U14, I was playing U15 and sometimes with U16. So that just helped incredibly.
So is there a big level difference between there in England and in FC Basel? Is it close?
Well, the level in England, what I was playing at is like school football. It's a high club, Buxwood, but it's not like a club team. We're not playing Chelsea. We're not playing Southampton. We're not playing those guys. Right. So I can't really say club level wise, but where I was and how I was playing, I can definitely say the training and how things are processed is definitely better and more precise at FC Basel. But yeah,
you probably have to be more precise, right? Just the level of player that's around you. Like I said, the size of the guys around them, the speed, the technical ability. I mean, how many teammates do you have that are Swiss nationals? U15 Swiss nationals, 5, 4?
We used to. Now it's like 2.
Down to 2 now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're playing with guys that essentially we could see on TV one day, right? Like playing for Switzerland in a World Cup. So,
not easy. How you deal with your emotional side?
Well,
maybe it can help our kids that has the same.
Yeah, of course. Well, it started off with, I think it really started off in China before with my sister. She was into tattooing and stuff, and she drew a wave on my wrist, like be calm, like a wave, but know when to go. And so during games, I'd get frustrated and I'd just look at it and I'd breathe, and it helped. Obviously, it wasn't like a quick okay, it's fixed. All right, let's go keep playing.
Of course.
It took time to manage. And I'm still working on it. There's always improvement emotionally. But yeah, that was the big thing, just having something to look at and being like, all right, it's okay.
Calm down.
It's okay. Yeah.
And now he's 100%. Because people that play against you, they will know what triggers you. So no, you're 100%.
Yeah, I have an idea. Let's do the sponsorship thing, and then I have an idea for Instagram we can do in a second.
Vamos que vamos. So we would like to say, we are Club Neutral Podcast, but we would like to say thank you for High Soccer Prospects, High Soccer Academy, High Soccer Arena. So thank you for your help. Also, Meta Media, if you guys need flyers, help me see you. If you need a social media help, anything related with social media, contact Meta Media. Meta Media USA, Meta Media
and
USA.
Let's do something different, because I noticed you were taking a video for Instagram. Let's not go live. Let's take a 10-second break. Let's do a video and be like, yo, we here. We're live in a show doing an Instagram video.
Vamos.
Hey, we're live. We got guests here. Vamos, during the show.
Hold on. Oh my God.
You got to wear them correctly.
Yeah. We are live.
Vamos que vamos.
Stay tuned. Here we go.
And also Mares.
Oh, God.
Mares. We need to go to Mares restaurant, okay?
Mares.
It's a Peruvian restaurant in Hunters Creek. You guys need to check it out. Thank you so much for helping us, and we're going to stop by. Also, we have the place that we're going to celebrate, I hope, the title.
Hopefully, next week.
What is the name of the event?
The main event.
The main event. Thank you so much, main event. International Drive is the best place to go after your main event.
To celebrate anything, really.
Just celebrate. Thank you so much.
All right, back to the fun. So I want to go back to your side again.
Go for it.
And again, we were talking the other day about different sports.
Yep.
And can you give us that phrase again? You mentioned about the other sports and how they act with parents. And you remember golf, tennis.
Oh, we're talking about individual sports. Yeah. So That's a big thing for me as a director of sport, as athletic director, is that parents understand that when they're on the sidelines yelling, I know they mean well. I'm a parent. I know you mean well, but you're not helping the situation.
But there's more. Wait,
yeah, I know there's more, but I was like, let's
get
do
excited.
Yeah. So, the example I shared with you was, we were lucky enough in Basel. We've got a couple high-level swimmers, skiers, individual sports where the fans are basically removed. If you're a swimmer, you don't hear the fans, right? You hear the water as you're moving it. A skier, you're on the mountain, you're going so fast, all you hear is the wind, right? And so those outside distractions, whether it's the fans yelling or parents yelling, those kids don't hear it. Those athletes don't hear it, and they're just focused. And this is why they're able to perform at such a high level, because they're just focused. It's just them and their thoughts and what they've trained, and you trust that they've trained it well and that they can execute it on game day. So it's not any different in sport as far as team sports that we're all used to. For us, I can give you an example. FC Basel, parents don't say anything.
Opa!
This is
just like that.
Yeah, let's go Basel, or Rot Blau, or they'll cheer the team. At no point is there, oh, come on, what are you doing? Come on. That doesn't happen because FC Basel doesn't allow it. It's clearly written when we meet that you'll be quiet, essentially.
I was going to say, but there was two things you said. You said one about tennis and you said about golf. They ask everybody to be
quiet. Yeah. That respect is there so that the athlete can perform to the best level that they can, right? And it's just understood. You would never yell when somebody's about to serve, right? Djokovic at Wimbledon, nobody's going to yell when he's about to hit the serve.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those guys yell at themselves.
Yeah, they don't need somebody else.
They don't need anybody else. They're internally pushing themselves to do those things. So, it's one of the things that, I try to, all sporting teams or clubs or, even my programs, is to get parents to understand, to trust the coach, like we were talking about earlier. If you don't agree, find a time to meet to understand. And then talk it out. But at the end of the day, if you're yelling on the sideline, one, your kid is already programmed to listen to you.
Yep.
And so now they're listening to you while the coach is yelling something different on this side. And now the kid's like, well, wait a minute. That's my coach. Who am I supposed to be listening to? And it's hard. The younger they are, the more conflicted the athlete is, right? And so it's just best to not say anything, right? So 2 resources that I don't get anything for plugging this, but they're basically my go-to resources. There's a book called Changing the Game that did wonders for me professionally and as a parent. And then the Positive Coaching Alliance. And they both kind of say the same things in terms of just be supportive, right? Don't be critical. The rides home sometimes are brutal for people, right? For our young athletes. It's not the time and the place. Like I've learned, and it's taken a lot. I'm not perfect by any means, right? It's taken a lot. I don't ask him anything. I'm like, how's it going? When he sits back in the car. And if he's ready to talk, he'll talk and share. And if he's not, he won't. Yep. And when he's ready, it could be hours later. It could be the next day.
Yeah.
Then he'll share.
Well, and it's interesting because we did 2 sessions here, and then you came to futsal, and I noticed you watch, but there was times maybe he took a bad shot. But a lot of parents were like, hey, come on, you got to, fix that. But you didn't say anything. And
no,
pardon my French, but I'm like, holy shit, God, Jesus, we got a parent that's actually just letting the kid do his thing.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's impossible.
I think part of this, when I came probably 8 years ago in Orlando City, they did a purchase from the Brazilian guy. He bought Orlando City.
Oh, yeah.
And I start going to the games. I think the Americans are now understanding the game. And this happened with the parents. Every time that we have a new team, we set up a meeting with the parents and say, look, now you love everything that we are doing because they don't understand.
Right.
So now, and then they start going to the games, to the tournament. They think that they know the rules and now they know the position. And this happens every time. But there's parents that say, hey, why you didn't put this guy to the left and then the other one to the back? And I think it's because they are starting understanding the game.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Very little. Yeah.
I mean, just the rules at least.
Yeah, but that still goes back to you got to trust the coach, right? And if you don't agree with the tactic, then have a chat and to understand.
Yeah, but this is funny. This always happened with the parents.
I'm curious, so at your school, do you guys have a meeting beforehand that says, hey, this is how we want our parents to act? You can't talk? How does that work?
So it's not the cultural thing in Europe to even be loud during any sporting event. So there's no talk that has to be had.
Okay.
We will be, again, it's my second year, so now we're going to implement some things this year. One of the things that we'll implement is some parent education on how to be a good sporting parent and what that actually means and what it looks like. And I think it's a Positive Coaching Alliance. I could be wrong. But they recommend having like guardians essentially. And so like our mascot is the dragon. So we might have like the dragon keepers. And so those will be the parents that when another parent is acting out of line, they would go and be like, look, that's not how we do things here. Here's why. That way the coach doesn't have to do it or the athletic director doesn't have to do it. Yeah. There's parents who have bought into the philosophy that that's not what we do here because that's not the best way to support our athletes. And they have that talk. And it's different when it's parent to parent than it is when it's coach to parent. Yeah. Right?
Well, it's interesting because, like, even here in the United States, is if there's an issue with a parent, like during a game, and the referee has to do, the coach gets the card.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not the coach's fault if the parent's on the other side of the field screaming. I can't pay attention. I'm looking at the field here. I got a yellow card because one of my parents was screaming at the ref or whatever, and I'm not even listening. And he came over and gave me yell. I'm like, what do you give me yellow for? He's like, that parent over there, you shut him up. And I'm like, that's not my job.
That's an adult. That's an adult.
I'm like, what are we talking about? If you don't like it, send him out. Don't talk to me.
Right. But see, in here, I would probably go the route of a preseason talk. Preseason education, like they do workshops. They're 1 hour workshops online. They're like $30, and that becomes something that's required of your members, right? If you're going to be a member of high soccer prospects, or I'm not sure, is that
prospects?
Then before that, as a parent, you need to take this course, and then that way we all understand each other. And so, again, those are things I'll probably start implementing at the school. It's not a problem, but it's good to have things in place before it ever becomes a problem, right? Yeah. And so if a parent can defend it on our behalf, great. It just kind of holds more weight, right? So, and it's a learning process. No parent comes out like knowing how to behave on the sideline. So it's parent education, right? He'll tell you, go ahead.
Funny story. Here we go.
Here we go. It's taken some time for him to learn how he can let me play my game and not me have to worry about him.
Right.
Where in the very beginning, I don't even know when, but he started to realize how himself and the parents were acting, and so his first steps in that were just removing himself from that parent group. And he would sit on the sidelines somewhere else. He could be behind a fence.
It's better that way, right?
It gets contagious, right? If you're sitting there with it and this person's yelling and that person's yelling, and then you're like, damn, well, I should probably yell too, right? Like, and so it's negatively contagious.
And so, that's where he really started. And then from that, then I didn't have to worry about him really yelling at me. Obviously, as a kid and someone who takes football and soccer very passionately, I always looked at him for confirmation for what I did. If I messed up a dribble, I'd look over and see what he would think.
And during the game. During the game. This is bad.
Yeah, and it's taken some time. I'm way over it now, but it's taken some time. Yeah, thank God for that. But I used to look at him after every single play for confirmation. And
so how did that impact you when you were actually playing? So obviously you were looking for reinforcement from dad that you were doing well or you need to do better, but how, let's look at this from your mental aspect. How did you think that it impacted you actually? Did it make you play worse? Did it, what?
I think it has its ups and downs because there are times where he'll be like, come on, you need to push harder. Yeah. And then I'll think and I'll be like, okay, I really actually do. I'm not actually pushing hard. And so that'll get me going. But if I, especially being emotional, when I made a mistake and I'd look at him and he'd be all serious and stuff because...
So I always kept a poker face. Once I separated from the other parents, it was just poker face. Like I wasn't happy, I wasn't mad, but to him...
I hated it.
But you don't know what is his thing.
Exactly. Like I could score a goal and he'd be... and I wouldn't know. I'd be like, yo, am I not playing that good? And so it's just developed from that. And then obviously being emotional, seeing him and looking at him after play when he's just serious, like at poker face, I'd be like, all right, I'm not doing good. Come on. Like it would negatively affect my game. So it did have its ups and downs here and there.
But that's the adjustment part because you were saying before that it was too much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then
or he didn't know if I was one of the parents that was yelling because I was in that group. So he didn't know if it was me yelling at him or is it you yelling at your kid or he just knew there was parents yelling.
When he scored a goal, do you smile a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I clap. I clap.
Just clap. That's it.
Yeah. But so like,
It's funny.
so the adjustment from your perspective. So dad was in that group that was too loud, being obnoxious, whatever, and then he separates himself.
Yeah.
So you had to adjust and understand that things are changing. But like, I want to talk about the part where the parents using your dad and that group being like that. How do you feel like as a player that impacted you?
That group of
like,
fans.
hey, what are we doing? You know, like that type of stuff.
It's annoying. It really is. Unless it's the opposing team's player, like fans, when they're doing it and they're yelling, for me that's motivating. I find it funny when it's the opposing team because you know it's like, oh, they're getting mad. You know, like we can keep going. But when it's your own parents and that stuff, you feel it gets you negatively because you always feel like you're doing something wrong if they're always yelling at you.
So you're being judged.
Yeah. And
They should be your biggest supporters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
Funny,
feel,
isn't it?
and I feel like I'm the one playing. I'm the one doing my best. Why are they judging me and how I'm playing when they're sitting there in the stands? They chose what to do with their life. Let me play my game.
Yeah. Well, and I've explained this to a couple of parents. You probably had said something similar. And you know, I played the game at a relatively good level, and you look at kids, they can only see this. Yeah. We're people on the sideline, we can see this. So of course we can sit there and judge as a parent or as a coach, hey, you should have done this. But we don't actually think about what the kid is actually seeing, which is right here.
Absolutely.
And we get the third eye vision of seeing the whole thing. It's
crazy. It's similar to going to watch a football match. Yeah. Going to watch Orlando City, if you sit in the very first row, the game looks different than if you sit in the 25th row. Because then you can see so much more, right? And as fans, we sit in the cheap seats, and we can see the game.
Better.
They can, especially the younger they are. Like, I mean, the parents. Sorry, parents. I'm gonna take a knock at you here, but those of you who are parents of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids, they're just playing to have fun. Like, they can't see the field. They see the ball at their feet. Yep. They see maybe one pass away. Yeah. Maybe. Right? And so they're developing those skills. And so being patient and just making sure they enjoy the game is really way more important than if they made the right pass. Yep. If they want to come back the next day or the next week and they're smiling when it's all done, it's serving its purpose. Yeah. Right? I think a lot of parents get caught up. I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. I think a lot of parents get caught up in playing sport to get a college scholarship or to become professional. Yeah. And that's not the mechanism. That's not what youth sports are for. Youth sports are to build those other characteristics that are going to help them become successful human beings later in life. The discipline, the time management, the perseverance, the getting knocked down and getting back up. Like, that's what you're paying for. When you're paying the club, you're paying them to help your child develop those skills. If you get to win, fantastic, because we all play to try to win. We all want to compete. If your child gets a college scholarship, freaking amazing, fantastic. And if they don't, it's okay. If they've played that long, the skills they develop are going to help them be successful adults, right? And so I think parents need to make sure that they understand that. And a lot of parents will shake their head, I understand. Yeah. You got to internalize that. You really have to understand that, which is why I'm okay when the day comes where he's done. His experience has prepared him for the rest of his life, no matter what, right? And hopefully it doesn't end for a long time, right? But when it does, he's going to be better for it, right? And so sport is a mechanism to help us become better human beings. Yep, agreed. Is really.
So done. So if he ended on being a volleyball player, you're going to be happy?
Absolutely. No, I'm going to be happy no matter what he does.
No, I'm kidding.
No matter what he does.
But yeah. So
like volleyball.
We have a thing here in the United States that you'll see on Instagram or people talking to, like, coaches talking to kids or trainers talking to kids, and they go, "You're going to be a superstar in 3 years," or "You're going to be better than Kevin De Bruyne in whatever." And it's like, I would never say that. No. I've never said that to anybody. I've never said that to him. I've never said that to any other kid I've worked with. Would that be something that you would say? Hey, you're going to be a superstar? No, okay. Why?
Never.
Why?
Never.
It's a false reality.
I mean, you're talking about the half percenter, the 10th of a percenter when you start name dropping superstars, right? These are special human beings in many different ways. But then for me as an athletic director, I look at the program that I work with and the clientele I work with. I would never, if I told you that and I didn't tell you that, well, you already internalized that I don't think very much of you.
Yeah, you prefer him.
Right? Without having to say a word to you, you've already said, well, damn, I ain't good enough. Yep. Right? And then that leads to quitting, right? And so, and I hate it when kids stop playing sport, anything, whatever it is, at an early age. Because this thing called puberty is in the mix. And kids get tall and kids get strong,
Yeah, yeah.
and kids get fast, and then all of a sudden that kid that you didn't send this Kevin De Bruyne message to, who has already told himself or herself that they're not athletic, well, they're not even going to try now. You know, and I'm the athletic director walking down the hall, and I'm like, "What do you play?" Nothing. What
happened?
And so that was a problem in one of our schools where in grade 3 they were telling kids, "Now you're not a footballer." How are you going to tell an 8-year-old that they're not a footballer?
Yeah.
There's so much time and physical development and all these things that can happen.
But it's also on the other side of the coin, too, where I've seen coaches, and then it might not say name drop somebody, they say, "You're going to be a pro," or "You're going to be this," and like, you have no idea what's going to. They might be super skilled at 10 or 8 or 12, but in 3 years they could, and I'm sure you've seen it, the younger kids that have gone like this, and then they go.
We were just having this talk the other day. Like, we were talking about, you know, everybody's always, especially on Instagram and the nature of social media this year, the next wonder kid. How many of these 12, 13, 14-year-old wonder kids become like bona fide like stars?
Very, very few, if
right?
any.
And so, and this goes back to, I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Mindset, or it's by Carolyn Dweck. She's out of Stanford. And there's tons of research in there that talks about that when you give messages that promote and praise effort versus outcome, the effort people tend to achieve more, will achieve more in the long run. The research clearly states that when you praise effort and perseverance and those other things, those people end up achieving at a higher level versus you're going to be a pro.
Right, yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have to do a whole lot more. They already think I'm going to be a pro. Shit, I'm going to keep doing the same thing I'm doing. Right? Versus saying, man, that effort's amazing. Keep it up. Oh, they like my effort. I'm going to keep doing that. Like, human beings are pleasers.
Yeah, there you go. But so the reason why I'm saying this is because what I've noticed here is the average parent doesn't understand the process if they want, the college scholarship. Oh, I want my kid to be a college scholarship. Well, they're not going to go to the coach that says, or the trainer, "Oh, you need to improve," versus the coach that says, "Hey, you're going to be a superstar one day."
Right.
So they want that instant gratification of, "Hey, my kid's good now. This coach, whatever, thinks my kid's good. He's the next Iniesta. He's whatever."
Yep.
And it's just funny. I see it all the time because, again, I would never tell it to a kid. That's probably harmed me from a business perspective because I'm not going around saying, "Hey, this kid." But I'm telling you, okay, you're okay, but you need to work on these 3 things.
Well, this is why we keep coming back to you, because your thing is, this is how you can get better.
Yeah.
Or let me help you get better.
Sure.
Well, me as a parent, that fits my philosophy. Me as a professional, that fits my philosophy. Like, I'm all about getting better. I want to find people who are going to make him better. I want to find environments that are going to make him better. If he starts off on the bench, so be it. It's up to him at that point, like you said earlier, to make the changes to get onto the field.
Right. Well, because it doesn't help him in any way if I go, "Hey, you're already a superstar. Forget it. You're going to be better than Messi in 2 years."
If you don't have that mindset to even when you're at the best, and like I was talking to him earlier about Ronaldo and how I love his mindset, is dude's already at the top and old, and he's still grinding and putting in the hours. So unless you don't have the mindset when someone tells you, "Oh, you're really good, you're gonna be pro," if you don't have the mindset of, "All right, let me keep that and let me keep working hard," it's useless. It really is. Where I'd rather have someone tell me, "You're really good, but to improve your game, you need to do this," because that gives me something to go work on to keep getting better.
Crazy.
No, definitely. You need to know what you need to work with. Let me ask, I already know your dream, but I would like to know your dream.
Oh.
What is your dream?
What kind of dream are we
As
talking
a
about? I'm a compartmentalist. Like, are we talking about as a parent? Are we talking about as a professional? What are we talking about?
About your dreams, because we know your dreams.
So you're saying a professional
and
dream.
as a professional, on the professional side, what is your dream?
To retire.
Opa! There we go.
No, I don't think so. You're very active. I don't think you're gonna.
Well, no. My definition of retirement is probably different than the regular definition.
Stay at home.
It's to do what I want to do when I want to do it, for as long as I want to do it. I mean, I've been doing this sports administration stuff for a long time. Like, if I could consult, or if I can help clubs or people or programs or kids or even parents, like, let me help parents to understand not the best route, but a better route, a more positive route to support your child. That would be cool. I mean, those are those things that I'm passionate about, those kinds of things, which is why I do what I do, right? And so I enjoy it. I don't know that I have like dreams. I want my kids to be successful. We've been lucky enough where they've gotten to experience a lot of things that most kids don't.
Sure.
They've seen a lot of things. They've had a lot of different experiences. And I guess I didn't mention he has an older sister. She's at University of South Florida, so she's in university now.
Nice.
And so, we're proud of her and the path that she's taken, and we're proud of him and the path he's taken so far. And all we want to do is just to keep supporting. Like, is really my dream is that they keep following their passions, and that, if we can help them in any way, then we will. And that was always the thing in my house. My parents are always like, we have done better than our parents. We want you to do better than us. And so, it's the same kind of philosophy. Like, it's a pretty weak dream answer, I think. But
he did recently just achieve a big dream that
secret is a secret. We have a secret.
Big goal.
What was?
Oh,
You started now.
You
started.
I
want to know.
He recently in Frankfurt completed an Ironman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I guess that was one of my
That is nice.
my wish list.
Hard, huh?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And working at the same time.
You check
right?
mark already. Good.
Yep. Check box done. And he was there to support me, which was great.
So were you on the side yelling, "Hey, come on, bro, it's not good enough," or were you like, "Come on"?
I was trying to find him at first because they start.
You smile for him, or you just?
Yeah. No, I smiled for him. I should have. Nah, it started in the morning. I was still sleeping, and then as he gets on the run, I'm looking for him. I brought my e-scooter. I'm going around the whole lake.
E-scooter.
I'm looking for him. And
He was trying to hunt me down.
and then I found him. And, at that point later on in the race, he's tired and he's digging down deep. He's trying to push, and so.
How many miles was it?
So the swim is, I'll do it in kilometers because I don't know how to do it.
Kilometers.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. See,
Sorry,
this is cultural, right? So the swim is 3.8 kilometers. I think it's just over 2 miles. It's a 180 kilometer bike, so about 115 miles.
Electric bike, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then the run is a marathon.
It's 20,
So
26?
41 kilometers,
I think it's like
27
26,
miles,
yeah, something
26
like that.
miles. So yeah, we got to the point where I'm on the run. It was four 10K laps, right? So I'm finishing up the lap number 2. He finally finds me, and I'm wrecked. I mean, I'm 11 hours into this thing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm wrecked. And looking, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I looked dead in the eye.
The mentality.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I was at a point where I couldn't run anymore, right? Like which is not like me. That's not how I'm built. But I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And he's like, no, you can do it. You got plenty of time. Like he had done the math, right? He's like, you got plenty of time. Just keep doing what you're doing right now. You're gonna be okay. I'll see you on the next lap, and then I'll go to the finish line because that's where I'll see you at the end. All right. And so that kind of gave me some. I was like, all right.
Son saying that you gotta do it.
Yeah. So
he wasn't yelling at you to
No,
run
he was not
harder.
yelling at me. Come on, hurry up! No,
And he was not with the poker face as well.
no poker face. He had a smile on. It was genuine.
That's funny.
But what he did, and I don't know if he did this like on purpose, but I'll see you at the finish line.
Oh, nice. That was
Right? Like it might have just been him. I don't know. I haven't asked him, but it's one of those things where, like, to me, that's what I heard. I'll see you at the finish
Let's
line.
ask him. So is that on purpose, or is this just?
I'd love to say it was on purpose, but it was it was just my wording.
was lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was gonna finish. I knew there was no way he was going through all that just to end up getting there and saying, "Nah, I can't," or him stopping. I knew for 100% he was gonna make it. Whether it was him crawling on the ground, cross the finish line.
That's true.
As a dad, you need to give the examples.
Well, that's what I was taking from it too. I was like, he's never seen me compete.
Yeah.
You know, I played baseball at University of North Florida, World Series twice. Like, he's never seen me actually compete. And so when I find him, and the first thing I say is, "Man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it." Like, that's not the right message I would normally want to send.
Yeah.
But I'm also being honest with him, right? Like, I'm giving this everything I freaking got, man, and I'm about out of gas.
Yeah.
And he was able to, like, he didn't have to, like, think about it. He was like, no, you're okay. You got time. I'll see you at the finish line. You're going to be okay.
But it's interesting though, because that, you know, like you said, it energizes you to be like, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
So it's interesting that when you actually support somebody,
Absolutely.
it gives them an actual boost.
Yep.
Which is
Yeah, so now, like, when he looks at me now, I don't know if you saw it even last night, like, whether he misdribbles a ball or mishandles a ball or takes a shot and misses, I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah,
Like, it's okay.
part of the game.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's
Part of the
okay. It is, and that's what I tell, like, myself and my wife. I'm like, that's part of the game. It is what it is. Like, nobody's flawless going through.
Well,
any
I mean,
match.
and I'm sure you'll say the same thing. You know, mistakes are part of the game, but you want to see what the decision they make after that is.
Yeah.
Do they quit, or are they like, okay, my bad, I messed up, I'm going again?
Yeah, that's his big thing is always how do you react
Respond,
to the,
yeah.
how do you respond to the situation?
Yep.
Are you gonna mess up and put your head down and be like darn and think about that the rest of the game, or are you gonna say, all right, that's another moment, let's get it back and let's fix that, let's do something else.
And it's interesting on this note because I trained a couple professional players and in the MLS, and there was one guy super skilled, really skilled, but every time he made a mistake, he's like, oh God, Jesus. And there's another guy that maybe wasn't as skilled, but he would make a mistake. Okay, I'm going again. And you can just see, like, it was just like, geez, you can see the difference between one and the other. One guy that's more skilled, but he makes, oh man, I can't believe I did that. And the other guy's like, okay, nope, fall back, do it again.
And that's
Right
something
away.
that can become like cultural within
Yeah.
a team too. Like again, I've named a couple of resources, and in a couple of those, they talk about like having signs, team signs, non-verbal signs. So like if Kyle has the ball and he messes up, maybe it's a tap on the head. The whole team's like, right, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Tap yourself on. It's okay. We got you. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
good. Without having to be like, dude, what the man? What?
Yeah.
Or be the parent. You can even be the parent in the stands. Whatever the team sign is, hey, it's okay, right?
Support.
It's support. Yeah.
Support. So I have another question related with that, with your dream. So what is the next country that you want to leave?
Oh, it's funny.
Maybe
you know what?
retiring. Yeah, in a different.
Not quite. Not yet. We're getting closer. It's funny. We've never gone into this thinking about which country we want to go to next.
How? You should live in 6, 7.
No, yeah, but it's always been okay. What's best for the kids?
Okay.
Like, is this a good school for the kids? At the beginning when they were very young, is this a good opportunity for us to grow as professionals, right? And then it became okay. We got to the point where a level where we're like, all right, we're really good at what we do. So now, what's best for the kids moving on now? And that's kind of how Switzerland came up. Like, you don't just pick and choose. Can you imagine the number of people who are applying to work in Switzerland or anywhere in Europe? Tons of people. It worked out. And that's how this whole FC Basel thing worked out, right? Because for those of you who don't know, there's strict FIFA rules on who can play in what countries.
Why.
Oh, my goodness, it's crazy. And so in order for him to play in Europe, we have to have a job in the country of residence that has nothing to do with football. Like, we couldn't have come there to work for purposes related to football. And so we're lucky enough that we teach. We're educators. And so we get the Swiss visa. We're treated like any other Swiss citizen, which allows him to play at FC Basel. Otherwise, all he could do is play, like, friendly matches. He'd never be in the league. He's never, like, given a FIFA number, player number, those kind of things. And so, blessings. I mean, it's just one of those things where each step, because it's been based on what's best for them, has just worked out for us. Yeah. So I don't know that we have a next destination. We never have. The next one will definitely be something that doesn't involve the kids, though, because he's in grade 9 going into grade 10, so he's coming to the end of that
cycle.
And so our daughter's already in university. So I don't know. My wife and I are gonna have to sit down and figure this out. Like, okay, how do we base our next decisions?
Chelsea, maybe playing for Chelsea.
Maybe we retire. Yeah.
So can you, highlighting that point, can you highlight, like, so obviously you couldn't go for footballing purposes, but how does the whole situation work? So you got the job.
Yep.
How did he get?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. Good question. This goes back to
England, Buxwood.
This goes back to his coach from Shanghai.
Yeah.
Rafa, probably starts there with Rafa, who got the job at Buxwood School to be their director of football. He was there for a year, and during that year brought him in, right? And so Rafa left after a year for another opportunity. And the director that they brought in, super high level guy. I mean,
Arsenal.
He was the Arsenal U18 head coach of the pro academy.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. And so once you're in that world, right, you have a lot of different connections. I sent him a note like in April of the second year at Buxwood, and I was like, look, we've got jobs in Switzerland. I need you to advise me at this point. This is not my realm. I don't do pro sports. Right. What's the best logical step for him and his progression? He was funny. He was pretty adamant. He's like, we want to keep him, but he needs to be in a proper pro academy. And now that you've got a job in Switzerland, let me make a phone call to see if they'll give him a look. All right. And so he made the phone call.
Sent in some videos throughout
we put together a highlight video of whatever we had. His time at Buxwood, him doing some ball drills alone, just people can kind of see his footwork and some nimbleness. We put together what we could, made it a CV. It's like applying for a job.
Sure.
But in the video, yeah?
No, we have a paper CV that we put together. And
but they want a highlight video as well.
But they wanted a highlight video.
So just to 30 seconds break. So if you need a highlight video, Meta Media, boom, you pay me later. Too. Done.
Sounds good. Nice work. But yeah, so they saw those things, and then the talent acquisition manager reached out to me directly and was like, hey, we'd like to have an in-person look, and that's when the 3-day trial came up. But yeah, it's a phone call. Like, nobody shows up at the front door.
Yeah.
Like, let me in. Because if that was the case, you'd have 10,000 parents saying, my kid's the best kid ever at the front door, right? And
so what you're saying is network is gold.
Network is important, man. You can't piss people off either. Like, you don't burn bridges. And again, I've never burned a bridge. I don't think so, because I try to see everybody in a positive light. They're doing the best they can with what they've got. Sometimes it benefits my kids, and sometimes it doesn't. And then he's got his part as well, and I've got my part as a parent. And so it's all got to work, right? But the network's important. It's important. So, Rafa got him to England. Trevor was there, made the phone call to Basel, and he's no promises. Like, I can make a phone call. I can't do anything else, right? And so he's made that phone call. Now, he's at Basel, and we're off and running. And then now I'm in a position where I've done the same thing for some kids that are new to our school, and they play pro club ball in, wherever they're coming from. Yeah. I at least can send a message to the head of scouting. Be like, I've never seen this kid play. This is what they're telling me. Feel free to reach out, right? But at least even that much
might get a look.
It might give the kid a chance. I don't know the kid yet, but you can have a look. You can do your part. You can do your job. All I'm doing is presenting a possibility. Right, I mean, it could be gold. I don't know. Yeah. Or it could be dust. I really don't know. But that's not my job to assess either.
Yeah. It's like myself. One day, one of the guys that used to be with us, he was like, Thiago, I'm a good player. I play a lot. And I never called the guys from Orlando City. But that day, I was like, I'm going to try to help.
Right.
So I'm going to do a call, and you need to show up. Show up there, And I remember as was today, like the guy was like, please just tell the guys, don't post on the internet that he was there. The guys like it, but he was like, okay, we like it, very, very good. Boom. On the next day, he was blowing on the Instagram with the post. He was like, we like it, but now he's out. Yeah. So this is the thing. So connection is very important, but you got to pay attention to what they are saying, because you can ruin your future for little thing. And that was the case.
Yep. No, but the network is key. Yeah. Unbelievable. I actually helped somebody out this morning. I have a friend who's got somebody who's in a country in Europe who I actually have a connection, like a second tier connection, not a direct connection to. And so everything connected, and now they're doing whatever they're doing on that side of things. So
talking about connection, Matt, you called us last week. I'm sorry, we're gonna call you back. Is the scouting from Orlando City? So we have some players to present him. Yeah.
Aye. So where does that leave us?
I think we are about to finish the show. Yes, that was a long one. Yeah. Very good insights here for our players. I think your contribution was huge. Yeah. You are different. I don't like to say, oh, you are amazing as well, because the same reason, but you different. I hope you keep forward on your dreams, and everything that you were saying here is going to help our kids. Yep.
The one thing I do want to highlight, and I think this will help people in general that want to play it at a level like his, or hopefully higher than that in the future if you get the chance to, is one, intensity. So he comes out and everything is 110%. Not even anything less than that. You can see it. Sometimes you make mistakes. It's part of the thing, but everything was boom fast. But you can see the sort of when he's the level difference when you play with, or you work with players that have higher level experience in one way. And then the second point is just repetition, over and over and over and over. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. I remember the first day you came, you missed some shots, so you're like, all right, okay, I should have scored that one, but next day came back in, much sharper. And it's just reps.
It's all about mentality. Yeah. I think you prepare him very well. So
a lot of it is him, man. A lot of it is him. I told Kyle this. Even the decision to go to England, that was his decision. We didn't push him.
Chasing the dream.
is there any parent out there that would be like, oh, you want to move an 18-hour flight away? Yeah, sure, go do that. Like, there are very few parents that'll do that. But no, we're here to support. Like, that's his decision. And that's all we can do is support. You chase your dreams. Now, my wife was sad for 2 years. She's happy he's back home now. Yeah, but yeah, support.
We might visit them, like, this year or next year.
Why not?
To eat
Come
some
on.
chocolates there. Zurich. You live near Zurich?
It's about an hour away.
That's fine. You can
Easy flight.
Make it a trip. That's it.
Let's do it.
Any final remarks? Maybe one from each of you, like, some advice you want to give parents, maybe advice to players.
I'd say the biggest 2 things.
You can say right here.
One-
Look into their eyes.
One is to always stay positive and have a growth mindset when playing, because no matter how bad or how low you might be, it'll always come up to your mean of where you are. So you're gonna come back no matter what. If you go down, you're gonna go up. You just gotta stay positive and keep working hard towards your goal. And football-wise, I'd say the biggest thing that would help grow and make you a better player is ball mastery. 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week helps so much develop your skill and your talent.
This guy's the monster, my friend. Huh?
Okay, vamos.
I don't know if I should go after that, but for the parents,
You created him.
for the parents, I guess the biggest thing is to enjoy watching your kids play. Right? They're only with us for 18 years if we're lucky, and then they're off and doing their own thing. It goes by fast. Enjoy it, appreciate it, love it, support them, and just take it all in, right? And think about how they feel. So yeah, just be as positive as you can be for those 18 years.
That's it, guys. Be positive.
Vamos.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Once again, Maris, Mercedes-Benz, we're going to talk with them as well about the show. High Soccer Prospects Academy Arena, Hourglass, Blue Machine Glass Matter.
Big tournament next week.
Good luck, guys. Good luck.
We're going for it.
Good luck.
Wishing you guys the
Thank
best.
you so much. Let's do it.
Boom.